How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 19th of June 2022. So we've had some response on Bitcoin and Binance down at these levels. We're going to go into those in a moment. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, smash that like button, and let's get into the analysis. So if you remember, I was posting, video after video yesterday, trying to keep everybody sort of up to date on what could potentially be unfolding over this weekend. It's currently Sunday, so there is a possibility that we get a little bit more volatility, but ultimately, so far, we've had some pretty decent responses down here. And it's nice to see because it kind of slows things down. Now, if we just drop down to the hourly chart, just to kind of show you that particular response. So we had that drop yesterday, and then it continued. A low point of around about sort of 17.5, little bit of a movement, and then and this is the interesting part. And this is where the slowdown happens. You can see that price has pulled back, picked up a little bit of buy side. Now, this is the hourly, so it's just a confirmational based time frame. At least that's how I use it. And then we get a really nice response. Tries to rebalance a little bit, almost to 20k, decent. I think we actually tagged it, to be fair. No, 19,999. It's on sale, right? but yeah, almost 20k or thereabouts. And obviously we're just stabilizing a little bit now. So there's a bit of absorption happening now as opposed to offloading of liquidity. If you remember, I was saying that Bitcoin was basically offloading down here, right? So we're trying to figure out whether this is objective fulfillment, meaning, whatever it's picked up on the way down, is it offloading down here, right? Or is it picking up buy side liquidity? There is a very subtle pickup of buy side liquidity, but it's not enough, to say, yeah, we're probably going to get a really nice response to hit that bracket of between 24k and 26k, right? Now, if we go over to Binance, you can see that the response is a little bit more pronounced. We were as low as 187 yesterday, I believe it was. Let me see. So we were as low as it says 183. Oh, sorry. 183. And we've had a pretty decent move away from that up to around about sort of 206. It was about 208 a minute ago before I jumped on. So this is a nice response. It's a decent response from Binance. And somebody actually somebody said something to me yesterday, which surprised me, because they noticed that altcoins aren't responding as aggressively as they so-called should be, with Bitcoin's movement to the downside, which is great. The reason that I say it surprised me is because people are starting to notice this. Bitcoin dominance isn't as strong as it was, say, last year. If we had this movement down on Bitcoin last year, with Bitcoin dominance the way that it was, the altcoins would have been getting decimated right now, right? So to kind of wrap up this portion of the video, because I'm going to get into something in a moment, I'm going to address some questions that were asked in the Discord. If you're not already in the Discord, the link's in the description below. But to kind of wrap this up, what do we do with this information going forward? The same as we always do. We're waiting for confirmation of something to happen. Huge injection of volatility, some real nice movement, whatever, something that we can look at and say, okay, now we're getting something a little bit different. We're going to continue to track price, on all of these time frames to make sure that as we're watching all of this movement, and you can see, just as a quick comparison, Binance has rebalanced, Bitcoin hasn't. I know many of you will be like, what the hell is a rebalance? It doesn't matter. Just go with me, yeah? Binance has rebalanced, on the hourly, whereas Bitcoin hasn't, right? Very interesting. This shows, again, one of two things, and I don't know which side of the scenario this is going to be. Either Binance is on its own page a little bit, and it's going to be the precursor to what happens in the general market, or Bitcoin is showing the dominant weakness, okay, and Binance is just overstretching for it to just come straight back and continue following Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin starts to drop, this movement that's a little bit sort of extended on Binance will be the precursor to this potential move to the downside. Very similar to negative divergence, if any of you are familiar with that concept. So again, continued patience, which I'm sure you guys are getting a bit bored of now, but it is what it is, guys. I mean, we're here, and I maintain the stance. We're here. We're professionals. We are trying to engage in the market in a safe way and making sure that we're not putting our money on the line unless it makes absolute sense to do so. You guys know that I'm keeping an eye on Binance, something that I've been looking to pick up on, and accumulate for some time now since all of this started. We already had our one movement, when Binance was kind of around here, and I had a really nice run up to that sort of I think the high point was 450. Where are we? 460, and that was a decent move. And if you remember, that complete study took a very long time. You know what I mean? Very, very long time. That first initial pickup was at sort of just under 324. And I kind of got that really nice movement up. But the point being is that took such a long time to form, and I was super, super patient with it, right? Everything's the same, nothing's changed. Maintain focus, keep your powder dry, just be careful with the markets. So with that said, that's all of the analysis done. So if you want to, kind of shoot off, that's absolutely fine. But I'm going to be hanging around for a couple of minutes because I want to address, some questions that came up in the Discord, in terms of what am I actually looking to do? How do I engage in the markets? When do I actually buy? When do I actually sell? When do I engage, right? So the charts themselves, I'm just going to leave them like that. You can kind of put the phone to one side or, just put me on in the background, as I'm going to be talking. So the question itself was basically just wondering how you're feeling right now. I'm feeling great, thank you. Premiership. I've been watching your videos and envy your patience. I'll stop right there and I'll just say I didn't always have patience. I was probably one of the most impatient and aggressive traders you'll ever meet. I was constantly looking to trade the markets all the time, in and out, like a madman. Yeah. So it took a very long time for me to develop this patience, and if you find yourself not having patience in the market, it's a learned skill. It's not something that you just have. Some people are more patient than others. Is fine. That's great. This is down to character and psychology, but ultimately it is definitely something that you can learn over time, especially when engaging with the financial markets. And then he said, still waiting and watching for some strength. Yes, I am, to answer that question. And then the question itself, not exact wording, but you said something similar to, let's see how we go. And if we hit up around 24,000 to 26,000, we will start the whole process again. Totally understand your approach to confirmation-based trading, but at what point do you have the confidence to engage? When is enough confirmation? Is there a rule of thumb? Now, there's a lot going on there, right? And I want to address it by first saying I have two levels, 20K, 48K. One of those two levels was going to get hit first, in this case, obviously 20,000. Now, I can't do anything until one of those two levels was hit. Now that the 20K has been hit, I start to analyze. What am I looking for? I'm looking for, reversal. I'm looking for, price to be showing indications that it's picking up buy side liquidity, because I don't want, a situation where I'm looking at price and I'm like, yeah, I can't really tell, because then I'm guessing. Yeah. Guessing in the markets is not what we want to be doing. I want to wait for absolute confirmation. Now, what does that confirmation look like, right? Well, for me, it's a stair-stepping process to buy-side liquidity. So the best way that I can explain this to you is, if you are watching price and you can see that price is exploding to the upside and you're like, okay, that's a pretty decent move. I'm going to watch it for a minute and see what happens. And then in that moment when you're watching it, price reverses completely and then starts to run to the downside. So that initial move, what seemed like pretty decent strength, has all of a sudden just been decimated and price is continuing to the downside. That's confirmation that, one, you shouldn't be engaging, but two, the underlying weakness is still there. Now, the question is, how do you know that's going to happen when you first see that first initial pop, right? You don't. And this is the thing. That's not enough confirmation. Now, if it pops and it pulls back a little bit and then it starts to run again and then it pulls back and starts to create some structure, this is absolutely key. For those of you that are still around watching the video and listening to my voice, this is absolutely key. You need to see enough confirmation, okay, and enough structure building for that confirmation to make sense. Remember, never, under any circumstances, use one candle only to base a trading decision off or an investment decision off. You need a multiple of structure to be forming to show you that that strength is there. For example, price, runs up, pulls back a little bit, runs up, pulls back a little bit, runs up, pulls back a little bit, and you can see that there's that underlying momentum shift, as price is kind of slowly swinging from the downside back to the upside and stabilizing. And then maybe you get that secondary pop, which you can have a little bit more faith in and trust in and confidence in, because you can see that price is starting to do something now, right? So there is no general rule of thumb. It's just through experience, obviously 20, 25, 26 plus years, of watching price, experiencing price, engaging with price, trading, investing multiple times, thousands and thousands and thousands of trades over and over and over and over again. And you start to understand what that means for you, what you're looking for. And without all of this experience, unfortunately, what happens is people fall back on these checklists and say, well, if I see this, this, and this, it just means I can buy. If I see that, that, this, and that, it means I can sell. There is no checklist in the market. It's about you. It's about you and how you personally engage with the markets. Everybody's different, right? So just to quickly answer the 24,000 to 26,000 and starting the whole process again, remember, in terms of buying something, for me, in terms of Bitcoin, we use Bitcoin as the example. I would want to see Bitcoin, and I mean from an investment standpoint, either continue to drop lower to a level where I can see that there's been a bit more capitulation and a bit more confirmation that we've put that bottom in before I consider engaging, right? Or I'd want to see Bitcoin past 48K, which seems like such a long way away. And it's like, what's the point? You're going to miss the whole move. Let's say Bitcoin goes to 15,000. That is a huge difference between 15,000 and 48,000. But here's the thing. Many of you don't understand, right, that I've got no interest in catching the bottom and taking a trade or an investment up to 48,000. I'm interested in getting Bitcoin somewhere between 48 and 52,000 for a run to 100K. That's the difference. Because when that happens, it means that I'm engaging basically with Bitcoin, and this is absolutely key. And then I'll close the video. I'm engaging with Bitcoin past 48,000 in a place where I have 99.9% confidence that at that moment, the likelihood it's going to go to 100,000 is so high, it makes no difference. I'm quite happy to just jump in and forget about the trade or investment. And that's the thing. This always comes back down to psychology and you and how you feel. Can you walk away from the computer? Can you put your phone down and still have confidence that your positions will be okay? If not, maybe you shouldn't be in that position. And with all of that said, guys, I really hope the video has helped in some way. I hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everybody. And I look forward to speaking to you guys very, very soon. All the best. Take care and ciao for now.